Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
Aren't open and honest with each other, that's when those, resentment's going to happen and underlying issues are going to happen versus just being honest with each other.
And then also just having very clear goals. If we're putting this much energy into it, do we actually want to be doing it for fun, or do we need to be making money at this point?
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Planning for your legacy should be empowering. That's why we've partnered with Tim Gorman, author of Tangled Legacy, Turning Estate Planning Mistakes into Successes, your essential guide to building wealth and securing your family's future. Invest in your legacy. Learn more about workshops, classes, and one-on-one coaching at dgrealtyadvisors.com. Are you ready to create more harmony in your home and connect with your kids on a deeper level? Molly Rubish, life coach and blended mom of 4, joined us to share her powerful insights on balancing energy in your home. Now you can take it a step further with her free guide, 5 Steps to Create Balance in Your Home. It's packed with practical tips to help you become the calm, loving presence your family needs. Download it now and start transforming your home today. Hi, Tiffany and Hilary. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Always fun to have 2 guests. It makes it for a fun dynamic. Well, before we talk more business, I'd love to have you 2 introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you individually, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Tiff, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Tiffany from Tiffany Lynn Photography. I'm also one of the co-owners along with Hilary here of Park Hill Studios. I've been a professional photographer for about 7 years now, and we've been co-owning this space since about 2019.
Amazing.
And my name is Hilary. I'm the owner of Wildwood Floral and Event Design, as well as co-owner of Park Hill. And yeah, I started my journey in the wedding world. I actually studied in fashion first and then moved over to the wedding atmosphere and the whole world of that. And I've been doing that for almost a decade now. Wow. And then, as Tiffany mentioned, we co-own the studio, which has been about 6 years or so.
That's amazing. Well, I'd love to hear the backstory on deciding to go on this venture together, and also learn more about the journey, because I know co-owning a business is not for the faint of heart. I mean, owning a business is not for the faint of heart. Bring somebody else, and I'd love to hear more. So tell me.
Yeah, so we actually started the space. So we started under a different name with a different location, and we started that space originally as we wanted just a space for ourselves and our personal businesses. And then we just thought, hey, maybe other people can use it. Let's just put it out to the public. They can rent it if they want to rent it. And we just kind of took off from there. We realized that the need was in the community to have a space like that. Since then, we've just continued to grow and expand. And then that's when we found this location, which is much bigger, and we've been able to add on multiple studios opposed to just the one that we had. So now we have 4 in one building, which is really awesome. And we're just looking to continue growing the business. And you can explain how it came together as us together, I guess, as friends.
Yeah, I mean, well, we met back in 2018, I think it was. I moved here we're in the Cambridge area in Ontario, and I moved here, was already in the wedding world and was looking for a studio for myself. And I ended up moving into a unit that they had. So I was taking over their lease or something like that. We met in the building. Okay. And them being, Tiff is a wedding photographer and I am a wedding floral designer. So we're like, okay, cool. Maybe we can collaborate on some stuff. And that's how it really sparked. And then we just connected. I always find adult friendships are kind of fun because you really do connect on a new level. Yeah. And me in a new town for sure. And it's just taken off from there.
That is amazing. Well, what have been some of the challenges though? It's great that you're in the same industry, so you have the understanding for years before you even decided to go in together. But especially for our listeners who may be considering that, or maybe are already in a partnership and maybe struggling, can you share more about the not so fun parts and how you have handled them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say for the most part, we do agree on a lot of things. However, obviously, there's always going to be things that we don't necessarily agree on. The good thing is while we're both in the wedding industry, we are in very different fields in the industry. So we both bring kind of our own expertise to the table, which I feel like is important.
They very much complement each other.
Yeah, I think if
in
we were
that
both
way.
photographers or both florals, we would maybe butt heads a little bit more. But because we kind of pull from two separate things, when it comes to maybe certain things in the studio, I'll say, I actually don't think that's necessarily a good idea because that's not going to photograph the way that you think it will. And then same with Hilary will do the floor, like not necessarily just floral, but the
Set
installations, the set designs. And she'll see that from a more design perspective that maybe I wouldn't have thought of. So we do definitely complement each other in that way. However, in terms of like negating things, communication is honestly the biggest thing. And I just can't say enough about having open and honest communication. And I found I'm definitely a people pleaser and Hilary's definitely more of a straight shooter, which she's kind of pulled that out of me, which is good and important. And I think that if you aren't open and honest with each other, that's when those, resentment's going to happen and underlying issues are going to happen versus just being honest with each other.
Yeah, and just being open to I'm not like the insight I'm providing is from my perspective. It doesn't mean that you're wrong necessarily. This is just what I'm seeing, what I think would work for the business. And then also just having very clear goals. Because I think that like in the beginning when we started, it was kind of just this like, oh, this will be fun. And, like we'll collaborate on this space and we'll both pay half the rent because we both want to use it. And then it sort of snowballed and snowballed. And I remember kind of a year, 2 years in, we were like, okay, wait a minute, what are we doing? Because we're putting a lot of time and energy and money into this space. Are we making money? Are we breaking even? Like, we don't really know. And so we had to do a bit of a deep dive into that to really consider, like, if we're putting this much energy into it, do we actually want to be doing it for fun or do we need to be making money at this point? So just kind of making that distinction and then setting goals for the business.
Okay, that's very wise. So clear communication, setting goals, ideally having kind of like a different approach. So one being more of the straight shooter and having somebody that's not so much. I feel like in any relationship, right? Even when you're thinking romantic relationship, it's nice to have that balance.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop, not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. It helps. It helps. Tell us more about the biggest lessons you've learned along the way. Obviously, working with each other, you just shared a little about the importance of having goals and being on the same page, looking at the finances. It's not just fun, it's business, right? What else?
I think one of the big things is being women in business. We've also noticed that sometimes people just don't take you seriously. And we've had our own struggles. The main thing is with landlords, with lease agreements. We have moved a couple of times due to those issues, whether it is a landlord not making good on their lease agreement, that type of a thing. And just having to advocate for yourself and speak up in those business circumstances has been really important. But also say too, on the customer service side of things, just sometimes it's so hard because you want to be nice. You want ultimately you want to give people the best experience and create a community. And unfortunately, there's always just going to be people that will, disrespect the rules, break the rules, try to take advantage. And you do have to say no, no, you can't, treat the studio like that. For example, we'll come in, people have broken things and not said anything. Stolen things have happened before. And things like that where you do have to draw a line and you're like, no, I wouldn't come into your space and treat it like this. And so that's just not acceptable. And so we've learned how to be, both the kind business owner, but clear when it comes to this is a community for everybody and everybody has to respect those rules.
Love that. And when it comes to having your separate businesses and then coming in together, I'm sure you leveraged both networks, but then moving forward, how has it been in terms of marketing yourselves? Do you feel like people have been more receptive with the fact that it's the two owners together versus being a solo owner? How has that been? Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
I think so. We actually have a marketing team now.
Yeah.
We didn't in the beginning, but we do have a
Okay.
team that handles all of that, from our social media, emails, all the marketing. So, and that has been honestly one of the biggest, best changes we've made, because it, as you probably know, it takes so much capacity to always be in that communication and posting and all of that. So we have a great team. Silvana leads it, and that has been fantastic because she has been able to grow it in a direction that was both neither me or Tiffany. She's kind of expanded that out beyond our networks. And then in the beginning, it was quite complementary because, again, Tiffany is in the photography world. It is mostly photographers that come into our space and rent it. There are other people too. However, I would also recommend it to my clients because this is actually one of the most popular spaces as a getting ready location for weddings. So we kind of had different approaches and different clients we could reach out to and spread the word.
That's great. So lots of different angles to explore then with having your both networks and experiences combined. Now tell us more, because you don't just do what's pertaining to people taking photos or getting ready for the weddings. You do have workshops. I'm super excited to hear about that and how people that may not be ready to get married or are not doing that, they can still learn from you and connect with you.
Yeah, so we actually this year have opened up Park Hill Education, which we thought was just the next way to expand our business and grow our community, because at the end of the day, that's what it is about for us. So just looking to be thought leaders in our industry. So I do I do photography workshops, and Hilary does the floral side of things. You definitely don't want me to do floral. And so I have started doing photography 101, and then next year we're going to be launching photography 102 as well. So 101 is just down to like the very nitty-gritty basics of photography, such as people, that may or may not have ever touched a camera before. They can walk in and still have a place for them, which is really awesome. And then they can go on to 102, or maybe you just start at 102 if you already have kind of a base knowledge, you're just looking to expand on the editing side of things. And then this past fall, we also hosted our big floral and photography retreat at an estate just really like maybe 5-10 minutes down the road called Crookston Park, which was really awesome and really lovely. And it was a 2-day retreat, and we had floral designers and photographers come, and it was just really a beautiful portfolio building experience where we had multiple different sets. We collaborated with a lot of really awesome other people in the industry. So we had Modern Bride come with dresses, Alyssa Helm come for hair and makeup, and that was just like a really awesome way to have people come in and learn not only from us but from each other in the community as well.
Yeah.
I love that. So you have some dates for 2025, and are those all in person, or do you have virtual as well?
So as of right now, they are all in person. We are looking to move the photography 101 and 102 eventually, potentially onto just like a online medium, online course. However, our big like workshop retreats, I feel like they're best served in person for sure. But we are going to at least try to do like the basics online. And then that way, if you happen to miss those days, you could still hop into those bigger in-person workshops. You could just kind of do the online courses and then get yourself to the point to hop on to those bigger retreats.
Awesome. And then for people that are not local, they can still follow you on Instagram, and you have free resources and some tips on there too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you're expanding into the educational side of things, because why not, right? It's such a smart business move, but also what you mentioned about building community, because I mean, that's what it's all about. Even with us talking here on this podcast is a different way for people to get to know you and then learn from you, whether it be via your free content or engaging in the paid workshops. It'll be fun once you have some digital stuff for people that are not local to connect with you on there. Now, a question that I meant to ask earlier, why Park Hill? Where did that name come
It's actually so simple because we always struggle with names. It's always the hardest part. But we are located at 20 Park Hill Road. So that's
Okay,
Park
easy.
Hill Stairs. Yeah, easy
So
peasy.
yeah, the city kind of gave us the name idea.
Yeah. Now naming the studios themselves, that's who knows where those come from.
Yeah,
But
we just kind of make those up as we go.
yeah.
Okay, very nice. And what about each of you individually and personally? What are some of the things that you do maybe for fun to pass time outside of business and the wedding stuff?
Like, well, when you're an entrepreneur, that consumes your life pretty
I
much.
know.
Me and my husband are currently building our house and doing like a massive renovation addition type of thing. So we are almost there. We're almost there. We're almost ready to move in about a couple of weeks. So that has been taking up most of my extra time
Okay.
the last year and a
Yeah.
bit construction.
Exciting though. Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like just hanging out. I mean, along the same thing, just with my husband, we like to go on walks with our dogs. That's kind of the biggest thing. We like to go to the movies and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, congratulations on all your success and paving the way for women. I was going to ask that, and then you touched on that, Hillary, on how it's hard as a woman and people don't take you as seriously. Do you feel like that is hard in this specific industry or just in general?
I think that we're fortunate in our industry because I believe the wedding industry is 85% women, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. So from that perspective, it is a lot of women supporting each other within that community. I think the biggest thing is we're just outside of the GTA, the Toronto area. And there's so much happening in Toronto, and there's like nothing happening out here. So that's sort of why we felt the need that we really wanted to, get into education, create more spaces for people to come to connect, have events, that type of a thing. And just to really try and encourage each other that, what, there is enough business for all of us. We like collaboration over competition. And if we do support each other, we really can like have a beautiful, fun community that we can all be a part of.
And one thing that we've tried to do or we have done the last 2 years, is even just something as simple as like a Christmas work party for people in the industry. So obviously we don't none of us work in traditional workplaces where you have that Christmas work party and office work party. So the last 2 years have hosted our own, essentially an office party, which is really awesome because, especially like I might run into other florists or videographers on a wedding day and like, things like that, but I'm not running into other photographers. And same with Hillary, like I'm the only photographer. She's the only florist at an event. So it was just a really fun way to get to like interact with people that you may have run into at weddings, but also maybe, people that through Instagram and things like that, other photographers and stuff.
And even
but you've never met.
I would say even just our clients in our space, like a lot of them are photographers, and just to be like, hey, come like hang out and actually get to know who is using our space and get to know them on a personal level has been really great.
That is such a great idea. Back to the community piece, but also networking in a very specific niche, because sometimes you go to entrepreneurial networking business groups and you got realtors, you got all these other people, which is great because you never know referrals, right? And where you're going to get your next client from. But the people that understand, which is why your collaboration and partnership worked so well, is because you understood the industry. So it's fun to have that camaraderie. Awesome. I love that. Well, before you guys tell us, which we already talked about the Instagram, how people can connect with you and give us more information on how to connect with you, I like to ask my guests my $1,000,000 question. And I will say each of you are going to have to give me your answers. Are you ready? All right, Hillary and Tiffany, what is an empowered woman then?
Oh, I love that. Empowered woman. I think from my perspective, an empowered woman is someone who has a goal. She knows what she wants. She does convey that directly. It's clear. And she is someone who also builds up the women around her, as well as the community around her, to reach those goals. So it's,
Yeah, I was going to say something kind of along the same lines, to be honest, with that ending part right there. I think, an empowered woman is somebody that is going to be there for not only that, like, they're not only empowering themselves in their own business, they're also empowering the people around them, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's all about. If you're not empowering others, then I feel like
What's the point?
what's the point? Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say too, and it doesn't matter what that is in. It doesn't necessarily need to be in business directly, but an empowered woman in your life, like, just being the owner of your life. And yeah.
And you ladies are a great role model for that. So thanks. Great answers. So tell us how to connect with you. What's the Instagram? Do you hang out on other social media platforms, and also the website? And I'll make sure to put everything in the show notes.
Yeah. So we are, our personals is I am Tiffany Lynn Photos.
And I'm by Wildwood on Instagram.
on Instagram respectively. And then our Park Hill Studios is Park Hill Studios on Instagram. And then our website is just parkhillstudios.ca.
Wonderful. I'll make sure and link that. Thank you so much, ladies. This was so refreshing. And again, congratulations on your grit and all your success.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.